The emergency lights flickered red across the cargo bay walls. Lucy pressed herself against the cold metal floor, listening to the ship groan and shake. 3 months had passed since the mining accident took her parents. 3 months of floating alone through space, eating protein bars that tasted like cardboard, drinking recycled water that smelled funny. The freighter's computer kept saying help was coming, but the words sounded emptier each day. Now the ship was falling. Lucy didn't understand all the warning sounds, but she knew falling was bad. Her father had taught her about gravity wells and planetary atmospheres before the accident, before the tunnel collapsed, before everything changed. The impact threw her against a storage container. Pain shot through her shoulder, but she bit her lip to stay quiet. 7 years old, and she had learned that crying didn't fix anything. She crawled to the emergency hatch, fingers shaking as she punched the release code her mother had made her memorize. The hatch hissed open, revealing purple sky and strange trees that looked nothing like Earth. Lucy grabbed the survival pack and jumped. The ground was softer than expected, covered in thick moss that cushioned her landing. Twin suns hung in the sky, one yellow and one pale blue. The air smelled sweet, like honey mixed with something sharp she couldn't name. Her datapad beeped warnings about toxic atmosphere, high gravity, dangerous fauna. She turned it off. What choice did she have? The forest seemed alive with sounds. Chirping, clicking, low rumbles that made her chest vibrate. Lucy ran, not knowing where safety was, just knowing she needed shelter before dark. The gravity pulled at her legs, making each step harder than normal. Sweat soaked through her ship suit. She found the caves as the suns began setting. Dark openings in a cliff face, promising protection from whatever hunted in those purple woods. Lucy chose the largest entrance and went inside, using her emergency light to see. The cave stretched deep into the mountain, walls covered in crystals that reflected her light in rainbow patterns. Her stomach growled. The survival pack had water purification tablets and a few meal bars, maybe enough for a week if she was careful. Lucy sat against the wall and allowed herself to cry, just for a minute. Then she wiped her eyes and started planning. Her father always said survivors made plans. Night came fast on this world. The temperature dropped and Lucy shivered in her thin suit. She was arranging rocks to make a bed when she heard it. A sound like wind through a canyon, but deeper, rhythmic, breathing. Something massive moved in the darkness beyond her light. Lucy froze, every muscle tight with fear. Golden eyes appeared, each one as big as her head. They blinked slowly, studying her with intelligence that made her skin prickle. The creature moved into her light and Lucy's breath caught. It looked like the dragons from her storybooks, but real. So real. 4 wings folded against a body covered in silver scales that sparkled like the cave crystals. A long neck held a head shaped like a wedge, elegant and deadly. Horns curved back from its skull, and when it breathed, small sparks danced in the air. Lucy should have run. Every instinct screamed at her to move. But her legs wouldn't work, and there was nowhere to go anyway. The dragon was between her and the exit. So she stood there, tiny human child facing a creature that could swallow her whole. The dragon lowered its head, bringing one massive eye level with Lucy. She saw herself reflected in that golden surface. Small, dirty, alone. The dragon made a sound softer than before, almost curious. Lucy's voice came out as a whisper, "Please don't eat me." The dragon tilted its head. Lucy felt something brush against her mind, gentle as a feather. Not words exactly, but feelings. Confusion, interest. No hunger, which was good. The touch in her mind felt warm, like her mother's hand on her forehead when she was sick. "I'm lost," Lucy said, knowing it probably couldn't understand. "My parents are dead, my ship crashed. I don't have anywhere else to go." The dragon pulled back, considering. Lucy watched it move to the far side of the cave, settling into a space that looked like it had been used before. A nest maybe, though there were no eggs. Just smooth stone worn down by a large body resting there many times. For a long moment neither moved. Girl and dragon both alone in the cave. Then the dragon did something Lucy never expected. It spread one massive wing, extending it toward her like an invitation, or maybe a shelter. Lucy understood without words. She gathered her pack and walked closer, legs trembling. The dragon didn't move as she settled near its side in the space protected by that wing. Heat radiated from the scales, better than any heater. The wing lowered slightly, creating a canopy over her head. Safe. For the first time in 3 months, Lucy felt safe. She didn't know why this creature was being kind. Didn't know if it would still be kind tomorrow. But right now, in this moment, she wasn't alone anymore. "Thank you," she whispered. The warmth in her mind increased slightly. Not words, but something that felt like acknowledgement. Lucy closed her eyes, exhausted beyond measure. Sleep pulled at her, and for once she didn't fight it. If she was going to die on this strange world, at least it would be warm. The dragon watched the small human curl up against its side. Such a tiny thing, fragile like all soft-skinned creatures, but there was something different about this one. It hadn't attacked with weapons or run away screaming, just asked not to be eaten and told the truth about being lost. The dragon had been alone for many years, the last of its kind on this world, all others hunted down by those who came from the sky wanting scales and bones. It had expected to die alone too someday. But now this small creature was here, smelling of metal and stars and sadness. Tomorrow would bring decisions. Tonight, they both needed rest. The dragon settled its head on its forearms and kept watch over the sleeping child. Outside, the purple forest grew dark and dangerous. Inside the cave, something unexpected was beginning. A bond forming between two beings who had both lost everything and found each other in the darkness. Dawn light filtered through the cave entrance in shades of purple and gold. Lucy woke to find herself alone, the dragon gone. Panic gripped her chest until she saw what was left behind. 3 pieces of fruit, each one blue and round like an apple but covered in soft fuzz. Next to them was cooked meat, still warm, from some animal she didn't recognize. Her stomach won the argument with her caution. Lucy bit into the fruit. Sweet juice exploded in her mouth, better than anything from the ship's stores. The meat was tough but filling. Someone had removed the bones and cut it into pieces small enough for her hands. The dragon had thought about what a human child could actually eat. The next 7 days created a pattern. Lucy would wake to find food waiting. She explored the cave during daylight hours while the dragon was gone. The cave system stretched deeper than she first thought, tunnels connecting to chambers filled with wonders. One room held what looked like treasure from a dozen worlds. Metal sculptures, broken technology, even what might have been artwork. Another chamber had a pool of clean water that glowed faintly in the dark. Lucy set up her camp in the main chamber. She arranged her few possessions, created a sleeping area with moss she gathered from the cave entrance, even drew pictures on the walls with charred sticks from her cooking fires. Her father had taught her to make any space feel like home. The dragon always returned at sunset. It would settle into its spot, those golden eyes watching her from across the cave. Lucy started talking to it, knowing it probably didn't understand but needing to hear a voice, even her own. "I had a cat once on Earth," she said one evening, sitting cross-legged near her fire. "His name was Patches because he had patches of different colors. Mom said I couldn't bring him on the mining ship, so he went to live with my grandma. I wonder if he remembers me." The dragon's eyes blinked slowly. Lucy felt that gentle touch in her mind again, warmer than before. And this time something new. An image appeared in her thoughts, not her memory but something else. She saw herself through different eyes from across the cave, saw how small she looked next to the fire. "You can show me things," Lucy stood up excited. "Can you understand me?" The dragon shifted its wings. Another image came, Lucy as a bright spot of warmth in the darkness. The feeling attached to it was protective, careful, like how she felt about Patches when he was a kitten. "You're taking care of me," Lucy said softly. She moved closer slowly. The dragon didn't pull away. Why? I'm just some random kid who crashed here. More images. These ones made less sense. Other dragons, many of them flying through skis filled with ships, then fire and nets and screaming. The dragons falling, one by one. The feeling was grief so deep it made Lucy's chest hurt. They hunted you, she whispered. People from space. They killed your family. The dragon's confirmation felt like a heavy weight. Lucy understood then why it lived alone in these caves, why it hid when ships passed overhead. This creature had every reason to hate anything that came from the sky, but it had saved her anyway, fed her, kept her warm. I'm sorry, Lucy said. Humans do terrible things sometimes. My dad told me that's why we have to choose to be better, to be kind even when the world isn't. She reached out her hand, not quite touching the silver scales. Is it okay if I stay? I won't hurt you, I promise. The dragon lowered its great head until its snout was inches from her palm. Lucy felt the heat of its breath, saw her reflection in those golden eyes. Then the gentlest touch as scales met skin. Warm, solid, real. The touch in her mind bloomed into something fuller. Not words but concepts, protection, companionship, pack, family. Family, Lucy repeated, her eyes stung with tears. I'd like that. Over the following weeks, their communication grew stronger. Lucy learned the dragon's name, though it wasn't really a word, more like a feeling of wind over silver water at dawn. She started calling her Silverwind, and the dragon seemed pleased with this. Silverwind shared memories through their connection. Lucy saw the galaxy through dragon eyes, learned about worlds and species she never knew existed, saw the great councils where different races met, though dragons were never invited, learned that most species thought dragons were just smart animals, not truly sentient. That made hunting them acceptable. But you're as smart as any person, Lucy protested. Smarter than most. You built this whole cave system for yourself. You knew to cook my food. You understand everything I say. Silverwind's response was sad. Dragons didn't use words or build machines. They didn't fit what other species thought intelligence should look like, so they were dismissed, hunted, forgotten. Lucy taught Silverwind about humans in return. She sang songs her mother used to sing, explained holidays and traditions, showed the dragon how to play simple games with stones, told stories about Earth with its single sun and blue oceans. Humans are new to space, Lucy explained one evening. We've only been traveling to other worlds for like 50 years. Everyone else has been doing it for thousands. They think we're weak because we need oxygen and normal gravity, because we're not tough like them. She looked at Silverwind. But we're stubborn. That's what Dad always said. Humans don't give up easy, and we make friends in weird places. The dragon rumbled, a sound Lucy had learned meant amusement. She grinned and leaned against the warm scales. Outside, night creatures called in the purple forest. Inside the cave, a girl and a dragon sat together, both less alone than before. Then Lucy's survival pack started beeping. She dug through it, pulling out the emergency beacon she had forgotten about. The display showed a new message. The beacon had finally punched through the planet's interference. It had sent a signal. Someone was coming. Silverwind felt the change in Lucy's emotions. Fear, uncertainty. The dragon sent a questioning feeling. I turned on a distress signal when I first crashed, Lucy admitted. I didn't think it would work, but someone picked it up. They're coming here. She looked at her dragon friend. What do we do? The ships arrived at dawn 3 days later. Lucy watched from the cave entrance as 3 dark shapes descended through the purple sky. They weren't rescue vessels. She had grown up around spaceships and knew the difference between commercial, military, and criminal. These had the lean, predatory look of hunter ships. Silverwind pulled her back into the shadows, wings spread protectively. The dragon's fear bled through their mental connection. Lucy felt memories surface. Ships like these had come before, bringing nets and weapons and death. Scale hunters, Lucy whispered. She had heard stories about them on the mining stations. People who tracked rare creatures across the galaxy, killing them for parts that sold to collectors. Dragon scales were worth more than gold. They must have intercepted my beacon. 4 figures emerged from the landed ships. 3 looked humanoid but wrong in ways that marked them as alien. The 4th was clearly the leader, tall and covered in thick plates like natural armor. A Thraxian, Lucy remembered from her school files. They were known as warriors and hunters. The leader deployed a scanning device. Lucy watched the readout from her hiding spot: heat signatures, life signs. The equipment was designed to find large creatures, to find dragons. "We need to hide you deeper," Lucy said, but Silverwind didn't move. The dragon was watching the hunters with eyes that had seen this before, eyes that knew hiding only delayed the inevitable. The hunters began moving toward the caves. They carried weapons that hummed with energy, nets reinforced with metal cables, devices that probably shot tranquilizers or worse. Professional equipment. These weren't amateurs. Lucy's mind raced. Her survival pack held her father's old mining tools, a plasma torch for cutting through rock, 3 small explosive charges for breaking up ore deposits, a scanning disruptor that her dad had used to hide mineral finds from claim jumpers. Not weapons exactly, but tools could be adapted. "I have an idea," she told Silverwind, "but you have to trust me." The dragon sent back confusion mixed with worry. Lucy shared her plan through images, showing what she wanted to do. Silverwind's response was immediate refusal, too dangerous for the small human. "You protected me," Lucy said firmly. "Now I protect you. That's what family does." She didn't wait for permission. Lucy grabbed the plasma torch and explosive charges, then ran deeper into the cave system. She knew these tunnels now, had explored them all. Knew which passages were unstable, which chambers had loose ceilings, which turns led to dead ends. The hunters entered the cave system 10 minutes later. Their lights cut through the darkness as they spread out in a standard search pattern: professional, efficient, deadly. Lucy triggered her first trap when they were 30 meters inside. She had placed an explosive charge at a support point her father had taught her to recognize. The detonation was small but perfectly placed. Rock collapsed behind the hunters, sealing their exit route. Shouting echoed through the caves. The hunters realized they weren't alone, that something else was in here with them, something that understood tactics. The leader, the Thraxian, called out in Galactic Standard, "Show yourself. We detected a human life sign. We're here to rescue you." Lucy almost laughed. Rescue, right. She had seen their weapons, their equipment. They weren't here to save anyone. She moved through a side passage, placing her second charge. The hunters advanced deeper, following the massive heat signature of Silverwind. They didn't notice the small human moving through tunnels barely big enough for a child. When they entered the crystal chamber, Lucy was ready. She activated the scanning disruptor and all their equipment went haywire. Readings spiked and dropped, showing heat sources everywhere and nowhere. The hunters spun around, disoriented. Silverwind struck from above. The dragon had positioned herself on a high ledge, using the confusion to attack. One hunter went down immediately, knocked unconscious by a tail strike. Another was pinned under a massive claw. But the third hunter fired his weapon. Lucy heard a sound like thunder, saw blue energy arc through the air. Silverwind roared in pain, the noise deafening in the enclosed space. The sonic weapon was designed for dragons specifically, attacking their sensitive hearing and balance. Lucy didn't think. She just ran forward with the plasma torch and slashed at the hunter's weapon. The torch wasn't meant for combat, but it was hot enough to cut through rock. It sliced through the weapon's power pack, and the device exploded in a shower of sparks. The hunter stumbled back, hands burned. Lucy stood between him and Silverwind, tiny human child with a cutting torch, facing down a creature twice her size. "Stay back," she said. Her voice shook, but her hands didn't. The Thraxian leader studied her with dark eyes. "Impossible. You're a human child. You shouldn't survive 3 days on this death world. Yet you're protecting the dragon, making traps. Fighting us." "She's my family," Lucy said simply, "and I don't let people hurt my family." Another hunter started to move, reaching for a net launcher. Lucy triggered her third explosive charge. The ceiling above them cracked, sending chunks of crystal raining down. Everyone scattered, and in the chaos, Lucy ran to Silverwind. The dragon was hurt, bleeding from where the sonic weapon had damaged her inner ear. She couldn't fly properly, couldn't maintain balance. Lucy pressed her hands against the silver scales, trying to stop the bleeding with bandages from her medical kit. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Silverwind sent feelings through their bond. Not blame, gratitude, pride in her small human's courage. The Thraxian leader's communicator crackled. Lucy heard words in a language she didn't know, but the tone was clear. More hunters were coming. A bigger team with heavier weapons. They would gas the entire cave system if needed. Lucy looked at her last explosive charge, at the plasma torch, at Silverwind bleeding beside her. The hunters were regrouping, setting up equipment for a final assault. Then a new sound filled the cave, a transmission cutting through the disrupted frequencies, a human voice speaking English. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the Terran Coalition vessel Steadfast. All ships in this system, stand down immediately. We are in pursuit of a missing human child. Anyone interfering will face the full authority of Earth's military." Lucy's breath caught. Real rescue, but would they arrive in time? The Steadfast dropped from orbit like a hammer. Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge watching his tactical display light up with targets. 3 hunter ships, all broadcasting false distress signals, all positioned around a planet that was supposed to be uninhabited. "Sir, we're reading weapons discharge on the surface," his tactical officer reported. "Energy signatures consistent with sonic disruptors. Someone's hunting something down there." Rodriguez clenched his jaw. Lucy Chen had been missing for 3 months. Her parents died in a mining accident, and the automated freighter she was on had malfunctioned. Every search had turned up nothing. Until yesterday, when a distress beacon finally activated from this nightmare world. "Hail those ships," he ordered. "Tell them to power down weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance gets met with force." The hunter ships tried to run. Rodriguez authorized weapons lock. One shot across the lead ship's bow convinced them to stop. The Steadfast had more firepower than all 3 hunters combined, and everyone knew humans were crazy enough to use it. "Get a rescue team on the ground," Rodriguez said. "Full tactical support. If my kid is down there, I want her found. Now." 6 specialists dropped through the atmosphere in an armored shuttle. Lieutenant Park led the team, a first contact officer with 20 years' experience. She had dealt with everything from diplomatic incidents to pirate raids, but nothing quite prepared her for what the scans showed. "Human life sign confirmed," the pilot reported. "But it's moving, fast, through what looks like a cave system, and there's something else. Massive thermal signature, could be volcanic activity." Park checked her equipment. Medical supplies, non-lethal weapons, translation software, emergency rations. Everything needed to rescue a traumatized child from a hostile environment. The shuttle touched down near the cave entrance. "Stay sharp," Park told her team. "This world has a 98% fatality rate for oxygen breathers. Whatever kept that kid alive for 3 months, it isn't normal." They found the first trap 20 meters inside. A collapsed section of tunnel, expertly demolished. Someone had used shape charges to bring down the ceiling without causing a total collapse. Mining expertise. "Her father was a deep space miner," Park said. "She must have learned from him. Kid's a survivor." The second trap was more sophisticated, a scanning disruptor that made their equipment useless. The third was a plasma torch rigged as a proximity alarm. Each trap showed planning, understanding of tactics, and a determination to protect something. They found the hunters in the crystal chamber, 3 of them wounded, equipment destroyed, looking terrified. The Thraxian leader sat against a wall holding burned hands. "Where is she?" Park demanded. The Thraxian pointed deeper into the caves. "With the dragon. The human child is protecting it. She's insane. Attacked us with mining tools, brought the ceiling down on us, nearly killed 2 of my crew." "You came here to hunt," Park said coldly. "You got hunted instead. How does it feel?" She left 2 team members to secure the hunters and pushed forward with the others. The passage opened into a vast chamber lit by glowing crystals. And there, in the center, was something that would change galactic history. A silver dragon, magnificent and wounded, curled protectively around a small human child. The child stood facing the entrance, holding a plasma torch like a sword, her face dirty and determined. "Stay back," Lucy said. "I already beat the hunters. I'll beat you too if I have to." Park stopped, hands raised to show she was unarmed. Lucy Chen, your name is in our database. We've been searching for you since your parents' accident. We're here to take you home." "I am home," Lucy said. "This is Silverwind. She's my family now. And if you try to take her away or hurt her, I'll fight you." Park looked at the dragon, at the child, at the bond so obvious it made her chest tight. The dragon's wing was draped over Lucy's shoulders. The child's hand rested on silver scales without fear. They breathed in sync. "Nobody's going to hurt anyone," Park said gently. "But your friend is injured. Can we help? We have medical supplies." Lucy's grip on the plasma torch didn't loosen. "Human medical supplies won't work on dragons. Their biology is different. I've been trying to stop the bleeding, but nothing helps." One of Park's team members stepped forward. "I'm Dr. Williams. I specialize in xenobiology. If you let me examine her, maybe I can help." Lucy looked at Silverwind. Some communication passed between them, invisible but real. The dragon lowered her head, allowing the doctor to approach. Williams scanned the wound with equipment that actually worked without the disruptor. His eyes widened. "This is incredible. The dragon's cellular structure is partly crystalline. That's why conventional medicine doesn't work. But if we can stabilize the crystal matrix, the organic tissue should heal on its own." He worked quickly, applying a compound that made the crystals in Silverwind's scales glow brighter. The bleeding slowed, then stopped. The dragon made a sound like wind chimes, relief clear in every note. Lucy lowered the plasma torch finally. "You really came to rescue me." "Your whole planet is looking for you, kid," Park said. "You're famous, sole survivor of the Chen mining disaster, and now this." She gestured at the dragon. "You've made first contact with a sentient species everyone thought was extinct." "Silverwind isn't extinct," Lucy said fiercely. "And she's not just some species. She's smart. She can talk in your mind. She has feelings and memories, and she's been alone because people like those hunters killed everyone she loved." Park knelt to Lucy's level. "I believe you, and I'm going to make sure everyone else believes you too. But Lucy, we can't leave you here. This world is too dangerous. You need medical attention, education, a real home." "I won't leave without Silverwind." The words hung in the cave. Park looked at the dragon, at the child, at the impossible situation. Protocol said to remove the human and quarantine the alien creature, but protocols were made by people who had never seen a bond like this. She tapped her communicator. "Park to Rodriguez. Sir, we have a situation. The child is safe but refuses extraction without a Class A dragon, requesting permission to transport both to the ship." Silence on the line, then Rodriguez's voice carefully controlled. "Repeat that, Lieutenant. Did you say dragon?" "Affirmative, sir. Sentient, telepathic, and bonded to the child. They're a package deal. More silence. Park could imagine the captain's face. This would require authorization from Earth, from the Galactic Council. This would change everything. The steadfast cargo bay had been hastily converted into a medical center. Silverwind lay on reinforced platforms while human doctors worked alongside xenobiologists to treat her wounds. Lucy refused to leave her side, sitting cross-legged next to the dragon's head, one hand resting on silver scales. Captain Rodriguez watched through the observation window. He had served in Earth's Space Navy for 30 years and thought he had seen everything. This was new. The Galactic Council is demanding we turn over the dragon, his communications officer reported. They claim dragons are non-sentient fauna under conservation protocols, meaning they get stored in a zoo or research facility. And if we refuse, Rodriguez asked. Possible sanctions, trade restrictions. They're threatening to revoke Earth's membership status. Rodriguez looked at Lucy. The kid sat there in borrowed clothes too big for her, hair still messy from months in a cave, talking quietly to a creature that shouldn't exist. He had a daughter about the same age back home. Tell the Council that Earth recognizes Silverwind as a sentient being with full rights under Terran law. Anyone who wants to argue can take it up with our diplomats. Sir, that could start an interstellar incident. Then it starts. I didn't join the Navy to abandon kids or throw sentient beings in cages. Send the message. In the medical bay, Dr. Williams was explaining his findings. The bond between them is real. When Lucy is stressed, Silverwind's neural patterns change. When the dragon experiences pain, Lucy's vitals spike. They're connected somehow at a level we don't fully understand. Can it be undone? Park asked. Williams looked uncomfortable. Probably, but it would be like cutting out part of their minds. The trauma could be permanent for both of them. Lucy had been listening. Nobody's cutting anything. Silverwind is my family. We stay together. Honey, it's not that simple, Park said gently. You need to go to school, live with other humans. The dragon needs space, proper care, others of her kind. There are no others, Lucy said. The hunters killed them all. Silverwind is the last one, and she doesn't need other dragons. She needs me. I need her. Why can't grown-ups understand that? Silverwind lifted her head, golden eyes focusing on Park. The lieutenant felt something brush her mind, gentle but insistent. Images flooded her thoughts. Lucy alone in a crashing ship. Lucy crying in the dark. Lucy standing between wounded Silverwind and armed hunters. Lucy sharing her food even when she barely had enough. Lucy singing human songs in a cave on an alien world. The images shifted. Silverwind alone for years, hiding, grieving, ready to die. Then a small human child stumbling into her cave, lost and terrified but trying to be brave. The decision to help instead of hide, to protect instead of push away, to hope again. Park gasped as the connection broke. She showed me, your memories, both of you. She does that sometimes, Lucy said, when words aren't enough. Park sat down heavily. You really are bonded. This isn't just a kid with a pet. You saved each other. That's what I've been trying to tell everyone. Rodriguez entered the bay, datapad in hand. I just got off a call with Earth's diplomatic corps. They're backing us. Earth officially recognizes Silverwind as a sentient being with the same rights as any citizen, which means Lucy, as her human companion, gets to make decisions about her care. I'm 7, Lucy pointed out. 7 and the only human to ever bond with a dragon. That makes you an expert. Rodriguez knelt beside her. But Lucy, we need to figure out what happens next. You can't go back to the mining colonies. You need education, stability, medical monitoring. Silverwind needs space and resources. Where do we put you both? Lucy looked at Silverwind. The dragon sent feelings of trust. Whatever Lucy decided, Silverwind would accept. Somewhere we can be together, Lucy said. Somewhere safe. Maybe somewhere other dragons could come if they're still hiding out there. We're working on it. The diplomatic corps suggested building a research station, neutral territory. You'd live there with Silverwind, attend school remotely, and scientists could study your bond. With your permission, of course. Would people try to separate us? Not while Earth has anything to say about it. And kid, after what you survived, after what you did down there, you've got a lot of people who want to make sure you're protected. Over the next week, messages poured in from across human space. Lucy's story had spread. Orphaned child survives impossible world, befriends dragon, fights off hunters, defends alien friend against her own rescue team. The news feeds couldn't get enough. Other species reacted differently. The Galactic Council debated for days. Some wanted to classify Lucy's actions as illegal wildlife interaction. Others argued for study of the bond. A few suggested that maybe they had been wrong about dragons all along. Then something unexpected happened. A message reached the Steadfast from a remote system. Another dragon signature hidden for decades, then another, and another. Dragons who had survived by hiding were coming out, drawn by news that one of their own was safe, protected by humans. Rodriguez showed Lucy the incoming messages. Looks like Silverwind isn't the last one after all. There are at least 12 confirmed sightings now, and they're asking to meet you. Both of you. Lucy felt Silverwind's surge of hope through their bond. Other dragons, survivors like her, not alone anymore. Can they come to the research station? Lucy asked. We're building it now. A place designed for humans and dragons to coexist. You'll have your own quarters connected to Silverwind's habitat, school facilities, recreation areas, and landing platforms for dragon visitors. Will I have to stay there forever? Rodriguez smiled. You'll have choices, Lucy. Maybe you become an ambassador between species. Maybe you just live your life with your dragon friend. Maybe you change the galaxy's understanding of what bonds between species can look like. Whatever happens, you get to decide. Lucy looked at Silverwind. The dragon looked back with golden eyes full of intelligence and affection. I want to help, Lucy said. I want other kids to know it's okay to be friends with beings that are different. That being scared is normal, but being kind is better. That family isn't just who you're born to, it's who you choose. Then that's what we'll do, Rodriguez said. Together. 5 years changed everything. The research station Haven floated in orbit around a garden world called New Spring. Built by humans with input from 17 species, it served as home to Lucy, Silverwind, and 43 other dragons who had emerged from hiding. Lucy sat in her quarters working on homework while Silverwind dozed in the connected habitat. She was 12 now, taller and more confident, but still the same girl who had survived alone in a cave. Her room was covered in photos. Her parents on Earth, Silverwind in the purple forests, dragon hatchlings playing in the station's flight decks, friends from school visiting on weekends. A message popped up on her screen. It was from Ambassador Park, who now served as Earth's representative to the Dragon Council. Lucy, we need you at the conference hall. The Galactic Council is voting on the Dragon Rights Resolution. Your speech might make the difference. Lucy touched Silverwind's scales. The dragon opened one eye, sensing her nervousness. Big day, Lucy said. You ready? Silverwind stood, shaking out her 4 wings. She was larger now, having recovered fully from her wounds. The years of good food and safety had let her grow to her full size. Magnificent didn't begin to cover it. They walked through Haven's corridors together. Other dragons nodded as they passed, showing respect to the pair who had started everything. Human workers smiled and waved. A group of children on a field trip stopped to stare in wonder. Is that really her? One kid whispered. The girl who tamed a dragon. I didn't tame her, Lucy called back with a grin. She's my friend, there's a difference. The conference hall was packed. Representatives from every major species filled the seats. Humans, Thraxians, Veltarians, species Lucy had learned about over the past 5 years. In special viewing areas, dragons perched, too large for normal seating but there to witness history. Rodriguez sat in the human delegation, now an admiral. He had fought hard for this day. Park stood ready to provide support. Dr. Williams was there with his research proving dragon sentience beyond doubt. The Galactic Council president, a being that looked like a floating crystal cluster, called for order. We gathered to vote on recognizing dragons as a sentient species with full galactic rights. Before voting, we will hear from Lucy Chen, human companion to Silverwind and advocate for dragon rights. Lucy walked to the podium. It had been adjusted for her height, but she still felt small in front of thousands of beings. Silverwind moved to stand beside her, offering silent support. 5 years ago I was lost, Lucy began. Her voice was steady despite her nerves. My parents had died, my ship crashed. I was alone on a world that should have killed me in days. I survived because a dragon chose to help me. Not because she had to, not because of laws or duty, because she saw someone who needed help and decided to care. She looked at the assembled delegates. Most of you think humans are weak. We need special atmospheres and normal gravity. We don't have natural armor or advanced technology like older species. You're right. We are fragile. But that's why we understand something important. Lucy touched Silverwind's scales. Being strong isn't about what you can destroy. It's about what you choose to protect. Silverwind could have eaten me, could have ignored me, could have chased me away. Instead, she fed me, kept me warm, taught me about the galaxy, and when hunters came to kill her, she fought to protect me. We protected each other. The hall was silent. Every being was listening. Dragons communicate through emotion and telepathy. They don't build machines or write books. For thousands of years, you decided that meant they weren't sentient, that it was okay to hunt them, to use them for parts, to treat them like dangerous animals instead of people. Lucy's voice grew stronger. But they are people. They feel love and grief. They make choices and sacrifices. They create art in ways you don't recognize because it doesn't look like yours. They have culture and history and families. And humans nearly missed it too because we were so focused on what intelligence should look like instead of seeing what it is. She pulled out a small device and activated it. Holograms appeared, showing the bond between her and Silverwind in neural scans. The synchronized brain patterns, the shared emotions, the proof that couldn't be denied. This is what connection looks like. Real connection between species, not one serving the other, not one tamming the other, just two beings choosing to be family. And if a 7-year-old human child and a dragon can figure out how to communicate, how to trust, how to love, then why can't the entire galaxy? Lucy looked directly at the council president. Dragons aren't asking for special treatment. They just want what every sentient being deserves: the right to live, the right to make choices, the right to be recognized as people. And if you vote no today, you're saying that difference means lesser, that not speaking your languages or building your machines makes someone property instead of a person. She stepped back. Silverwind saved my life. I'm trying to save hers and every other dragon still hiding in fear. Please, see them the way I do, as friends, as equals, as people who deserve a chance. The voting took 2 hours. Lucy waited with Silverwind in a side chamber, trying not to be sick with nerves. Rodriguez brought her water. Park sat with her, not saying anything, just being present. Finally, the call came. They returned to the hall. The crystal president floated at the center, its facets glowing with bioluminescence. The vote is complete. By a margin of 73%, the Galactic Council recognizes dragons as a fully sentient species with all rights and protections under galactic law. The hunting, capture, and harm of dragons is now a criminal offense punishable by imprisonment. The Dragon Rights Resolution is passed. The hall erupted. Dragons roared, the sound like music. Humans cheered. Even some of the other species showed approval. Lucy felt tears running down her face as Silverwind wrapped a wing around her. Through their bond came feelings of joy, gratitude, hope, and love. So much love. "We did it," Lucy whispered. "You're safe now. All of you are safe." Rodriguez approached with a smile. Not bad for a kid who just wanted to keep her friend. Lucy laughed through her tears. That's all it ever was, just wanting to protect family. Later, as twin moons rose over New Spring, Lucy and Silverwind flew together. The dragon's 4 wings carried them both through the night sky. Below, Haven glowed with lights. Home to a family neither of them had expected but both had chosen. Other dragons joined them in flight, no longer hiding, free to soar without fear. And in the center, a young human girl rode on her dragon friend's back, both of them laughing. The galaxy had learned what humanity offered, not conquest or superior weapons, just a stubborn belief that everyone deserved kindness, that differences made life richer, not dangerous, that family was built through choice and love, not just blood and species. And sometimes, that belief was enough to change everything.